Hi guys, Mr. Joe here. Today for our guild activity, we're going to be making some masks. To begin with, we're going to make a drawing of some different mask ideas, and then we're going to gather some materials that we might be able to use for a mask, given that we don't have all the art materials from school. And then we're going to play around with making a mask, and I'm going to show you how to put it together. So first, let's look here on the paper. This is going to be just an opportunity for us to draw some different designs, and I might just make some strange looking masks, or I might make a mask that looks like an animal, but this is my chance to sort of draw that out. If I were going to draw an animal mask, like maybe I might draw a circle for the main part of my mask and some pointy triangles for ears. The eyes, you want to make them a little bit over large, because when we cut them out, you want to have them big enough to fit your face, and make sure that the space in between is not too large. So there's a cat mask. Let's see, I might also just make like a random shape and put eyes on it, and this could become kind of a cool mask. Maybe it's some sort of strange animal. Or maybe I just want to make a mask that is a simple shape, like a square mask. Okay, and something like this, I might put a lot of designs in. I might just like do some fun triangles on it, or I might even tape some paper on it that's going to come out in different directions and make it a little bit wild. Maybe it has some shapes on it. Cool. So once you have a design that you like, I'm going to show you some ways that you can build it. So if I want to make something like this, I've got to come up with the main part of my mask that's going to be sturdy enough to wear. And one of the things I have is a paper plate. I think this is a really simple way for us to make a mask. And so if I'm using a paper plate, I'm gonna, my paper plate has this really interesting design, and I could use this design if I wanted to. But the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to draw, maybe I'll do it on this side. I'm gonna draw my eyeballs, and I'm gonna draw one rainbow, and then a little gap, and then another rainbow. And that's the very first part of making my eye cutouts. The second part is an upside down rainbow and another upside down rainbow. And notice I made these a lot larger than my own eyes because I want them to be have plenty of space to be able to see out of. Now you might need a little help from mom or dad for this part, but I'm going to use these big scissors, or some kid scissors work well. Also an X-Acto knife works really well. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to poke a little hole in there, and I'm going to poke a little hole in there, and then I'm going to put my scissors in there and cut around that hole. So you'll see that if I use the back end of the scissors, it's a lot easier to cut with. And these don't need to be perfect. Be careful not to get your fingers in the way. An X-Acto knife does make it a nicer cutout hole, so you can use an X-Acto knife for this, but scissors do work. They just make a little bit of a messier hole. Okay, so again, going back into that other hole I made. And notice my hand is off to the side. I'm not holding it too close. Try to keep your hand away from where you're cutting. Okay, so there are my eye holes. And now I'm gonna make this square mask. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the shape of this.
Why don't you test it?
A little bit like this. I'm just gonna cut it into a square. And my partner does have a good point. I could test it, make sure that my face fits. Okay, so I've got the base of a square mask now. And it actually kind of fits a little bit better this direction because of the shape of the plate. So, but I like the colors of it in this direction. Something else that I noticed is we also end up with these cool little bits here that come off. And so I'm gonna maybe use these as a part of the decoration of my mask. I noticed in my decoration, I have these parts that come off. And if I did want to attach, so I'm gonna lay my mask out, and now the part is I'm gonna take my different materials and I'm just gonna play around with different ways to organize my mask. So maybe I like it like this. Maybe I'm like, oh, I like it more like this. So I'm just designing the mask. And I can also have other bits of paper that I can use. And maybe I want to draw, like, a really fun way to make triangles is if you cut little strips like this, and then all you have to do is you cut the corner off there, and then you cut it straight. So then I'm going to cut the corner, and then I'm going to cut it straight, and then the corner, and then straight. And you can see that makes some nice little triangles. So I'm playing around with triangles. I'm putting them on my mask. Maybe I have these here, like eyebrows, and maybe there's another one down here as a nose. Ooh, I can even use the cutouts I did as little bits like that. Ooh, he's kind of looking like a bunny. Okay, so now once I have a plan and I know where I want most of my parts to go, I have to figure out how I'm gonna get them to stick on there. And some options I have are, like, if it's sitting on here flat like this, I can put a little glue on it and just glue it down there. If you have glue at home, that's an easy way. But then another way to make a mask is to easily make it, or to make something stick on there, is to use tape and make a double-sided tape. So I'll take a little bit of tape and I'll put it on the end of my finger like this. And then I'll take the other end of the tape and roll it into itself and roll it into a little circle like that. So now I have a little tube of tape, you can see that. And this will allow me to take a shape, put the tape on it, and then tape it down. So that's a really great way for that to happen. So I'm gonna maybe just do a few of those. And if I wanna do more than just one, I can put 2 pieces of tape on my finger and roll it, and roll it. Put that there. And I'll put that there. Okay. So I'm getting that part designed. Now, the thing with something bigger like this that's sticking off the edge is it's going to be a little bit harder to make it stay with tape. So that's where something handy dandy like a stapler comes in. And so I'm going to just take these off for a moment, and I'm going to take one and I'm going to staple it. Now, when you staple something, let's say I put this in just like this and I staple it like that, it's got a nice smooth side here, but on the back side, on the bottom side, it's got this little part that's a little bit pokey. It's a little bit pokey on the bottom side where it wraps around. So if I am, what I would recommend doing is actually stapling it not from the top side like this, but actually flipping it over if you can and stapling it from the back. And the reason, or another way to do that, is leave it here and turn your stapler upside down. And the reason I do that is that when you staple this on, the pokey part will be in the front of the mask and the smooth part will be the part where your face goes. So that just helps it so that you're not going to get poked with your device. So I'll hold it in place, turn my stapler upside down, and, oh, come on, stapler. And staple it. Okay, I'm going to do a couple more up here. Cool. And so there's my little mask. Now the last thing I might want to do is attach some strings. Let's see here.
Right, that black one.
Black one.
It's sticking up right in front.
This is a piece of fabric from a t-shirt. It's a little strip that we cut. And when you attach your string, the thing you need to know is you want to attach it right close to the eyeballs. Because if it's up here, then the mask kind of flops off like my head like this. But if I attach it in the middle, it will stay on my face nice and snug. And so again, I'm going to put my string right next to the eye. And I'm going to make sure my stapler is upside down. Actually, it's going to be this direction this time. And I'll staple that there. And then this can go around.
Get another one.
It's okay. Oh, I guess I could do two.
Yeah.
So you can make it with one strap like that, which works out good. But another way to do it is if you use two of them and do a second one on the other side right next to the eye. Then you have two that you can use and tie into a knot around your head and make it nice and tight. So let's check it out. So there's my mask. I'm gonna flip it around my head. And I'm gonna tie the knot. You might need help with that a little bit. Just like that. Yeah, did one of these fall down?
Mm-hmm.
It's okay, I can always adjust it and restaple it if I want to. All right, so other things that I thought might be fun for decorating is I have bottle caps. I've got, things like feathers might be fun. These are like Stellar J feathers that I found outside. Also cutting out paper shapes is a really great way, any different colors. And you can even cut out some shapes or color on a paper, color big zebra stripes or whatever you want on a paper, and then cut that out into a triangle, and that might be like a striped ear. So you can color on paper and then cut shapes out of that colored paper. Another good way to get good designs. So have fun making this.
Fit on paper plates.
And oh yeah, if you don't have paper plates, you can always use cardboard boxes that you might see in a cereal box. So, take the bag of cereal out of the box. You can cut up that box from your cereal to make a nice mask. It's a really thin cardboard, so it's easy to cut. And then also, just colored paper. I'm using like a thicker colored paper here is another good material if you have access to this for cutting out and making masks with. All right, you guys have fun, and I can't wait to see what you make.